Joe Hyman, CEO of Vizergy, thanks ever so much for joining us at PhocusWire for our kind of a follow-up interview from the presentation that your colleague Robert Arnold did at the conference 2 or 3 weeks ago. So again, thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so with the benefit of 3 or 4 weeks since the conference, how are you starting to see things kind of play out as your customers and the industry as a whole starts to kind of think about 2021? We're recording this on the 16th of December. It's just a couple of weeks left to go, and people are kind of starting to turn to the new year. What are the kind of the signals that you're getting back from customers?
Well, I think there's a lot of optimism with the vaccine currently in production and people actually seeing others get the vaccine. So I think that there's a lot of hope that 2021 is going to be a much better year. I don't know how it could be much worse than 2020.
Indeed.
So I think that what we are seeing and part of our process over the last 6 or 8 months has really been to take a deep dive and talk to our largest customers in depth about what do they see and what are their plans coming out, kind of headwinds, and if there are any potential tailwind opportunities, and really understanding their pain points, because good business only happens when companies can solve other companies' business problems, and understanding those problems in this new environment is so important. One of the things that we learned, and it's relatively obvious, but the hospitality industry has been decimated from a staffing standpoint, and most every hotel management company, large and small, has they sent their staff home on furlough. We all thought this was going to be a short-term situation, and those furloughs turned into permanent layoffs. So we're focused on helping customers drive digital revenue direct to their websites and manage multiple e-commerce distribution strategies. And pre-2020, these companies had large staffs to help deploy marketing campaigns, measure, manage, develop websites to tell their unique story. And that staff is gone, and they're looking for ways to outsource the marketing services. And they're also looking for ways to simplify their overall management. If you think of a hotel group with 70 hotels, 70 websites, 70 sales managers, that's just not a reality anymore. That's running out of a central office. They need to lean on specialists to help them deploy. And we're really seeing a big push from really hotel management companies that we've never worked with in the past that know that we're doing some more outsourced type work and have tools that can help them simplify and consolidate their e-commerce. And we're seeing a lot of activity, phone calls and discussions around that, but I would not say that we're seeing a lot of people sign contracts. They're still in the evaluation phase. And I think we're in the game plan for when they feel a little more comfortable that we're going to start to see stronger recovery trajectory.
Let me ask you this, Joe. You said at the beginning there, tailwind opportunities. And I wonder if you could kind of give us an example of what a tailwind opportunity might be that companies could take advantage of.
I think this whole domestic travel pent-up demand is going to create some tailwind opportunities for sellers of travel that can create experiences that are within drive distance, that people have been sitting in their homes for months. They're frustrated. They're the news is awful to watch, and they want to get out and experience things with their family and friends and kind of get back to normal. So I feel like in the earliest phase, this pent-up demand to go experience things is going to create a bit of a tailwind for hotels located in the right location. So downtown New York City, probably not going to be a place that everyone's going to run to right away. But if you're in Montana or North Carolina or in the countryside, you can help create experiences for families and individual travelers. Could be good.
Do you have any sense at all, Joe, if there's going to be any almost kind of fundamental changes in the way brands think about their marketing once they start recovery and recovering almost? There was a marketing landscape that was very well worn in 2019 and many years leading up to it, and we've had all this madness that's happened this year. Is there anything that's going to change as a result of whether it's marketing tactics, the way they think about different digital channels at all, or do you suspect that everyone's just going to go back to what they feel comfortable with almost?
Well, I expect in the short run it will change, and that may carry on to be more of a permanent change. But hotels and travel businesses are sitting on a lot of data, and everybody talks about wanting to use their data, but most of them are not using their data very in a very astute way. And what I mean by that is your website is generating data, your guest data, your property management system has all your stay data. Hotels are going to start spending in more micro chunks. And so if they know that in the next 90 days, we're going to see a lot of traffic from, I'm going to use US examples, but from Atlanta, Orlando coming to Jacksonville, Florida, then we're going to start spending and targeting our media spend towards Atlanta and Orlando, because we know people from San Francisco aren't flying to Jacksonville. We can see it in the data, and we're going to start using our data more aggressively and be better stewards of our ad dollars. I think that's number one. It's you can't just advertise to everybody all the time. The always on advertising is not going to be very well done. It's not going to work well for people. They're going to get a much better return. I think that content that's curated around experiences in your region are going to be much more relevant in searches and search engines, because people are looking for that experience and want to get out of the house. So I think those tactics that are much more customer centric and data driven will kind of help us work our way out of the slump that we're in. And I hope to think that those are going to be permanent fixtures, but human nature is such that we go back to what we perceive as normal, and maybe we'll run ad campaigns across the globe back in 3 years when we get back to really good times.
Yeah, indeed. And the front page of the Vizergy website, I think it's a terrific tagline. It says "Create an unfair advantage," which is a really catchy phrase. But the reason why it caught my eye is that there are some in the industry, and this is much more of a big picture question now, I guess, Joe. Some people in the industry think that, there's an organization like Google has created an unfair advantage by seemingly launching lots of products and services that direct consumers back to their own ability to connect people to hotels or OTAs or whatever. What's your overall kind of view on the Google situation, if we can call it that, given that frankly, you can't go to a Phocuswright conference these days without somebody starting to have a good old chip on their shoulder, or maybe sometimes they praise Google, but everyone's usually got something to say about Google. What would you say?
Well, Google, what can you say? They have an unbelievable market position. They've created their own acronym. We don't look things up anymore. We Google them. Yep. And it's become part of our daily daily activities. I was in my doctor's office. I talked to him had a couple of questions about things, and he Googled them right in front of me. Now, I thought he was a doctor, but he's using Google as a resource. They're not going away, and you have to learn how to operate in this large sea and carve out your brand position, your market strategy. You need to evaluate that marketing, and then you need to optimize it. And you have to play on the playing field that is in front of you, because most folks that we operate with and that are in our ecosystem, they're not going to change Google, and they're not going to control Google. So rather than worry about it, I'm going to help understand it as deep as we can, and then operate within those parameters to help our customers win.
Okay.
Help them create an unfair advantage against their competition, because if their competition's not paying attention to the changes, then that's an opportunity for the people that pay Vizergy.
Okay, well, nicely said. So we're recording this about a week or so before Christmas. So happy holidays from us to you.
Thank you.
And the rest of the team there at Vizergy, and best of luck for 2021. So thanks ever so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You bet. Thanks, Kevin.